government is seen as a solution to problems, where government intervention, intrusion is the first option that people pick. And therefore, it's not going to be an easy battle. What are the options? The option is to go back to one of the most brilliant and seminal thinkers in Indian political science, Rajni Kothari. Rajni Kothari studied the 1950s and 60s in great detail. And he came to some strange conclusion that India is a democracy. But most democracies that we're aware of, particularly Westminster-style democracies, have two parties, Republicans, Democrats, Conservative, Labour. India doesn't seem to have that situation. It has one dominant party, the Congress, and it has 15, 20 other small parties here and there. He said this model of democracy is a model of one-party dominance. So when that happens, how do the other opposition parties operate? He felt that the way they operated was by influencing caucuses within the Congress party, within the dominant party. So if you were a Hindu nationalist, you tried to cultivate those people within the Congress party who were likely to be pro-Hindu. If you were a socialist, you cultivated those who were likely to be socialists. In fact, even communists had, a fifth column agents within the Congress party. The famous or infamous Krishna Menon is supposed to have been one of them. Similarly, those of us who believe in markets and believe in economic freedoms and liberties and a non-intrusive state and relatively benign taxation and opportunities for individuals, the way we work this is, I believe, not by trying to revive the Swatantra Party, which I'm not sure is a practical proposition, but by today working with the caucuses within the BJP, within the Congress, because these are the two big parties, and of course within the regional parties, within Trinamool, within BJD, within NCP, to see which are the elements there, the DMK, which are the elements within these parties, who are the individuals, who are the groups, who are the caucuses, who are the lobbies, who can in fact react positively, who will react positively to appeals to adopt a more pro-free market, more pro-liberal position on economics and politics. This is the challenge. And I think this is the way we need to kind of think of the present and the immediate future, not of trying to think that a liberal or libertarian or pro-free market, undiluted Swatantra revival is going to actually play out. It's not accidental, they did make some mistakes and they had some bad luck, but I think their decline and disappearance was almost inevitable, because in a country driven by religious, linguistic, caste identities determine how people vote, and having decided how they vote, then they decide which economic policy they will take up. That's the way, that is the sequence. In fact, my eldest son, who's a very passionate student of American history and American politics, told me this many years ago. He said it is possible that rich and sophisticated Republicans in New York, and there aren't many Republicans in New York, but the few who are there, they may be worried about trade policy, about taxation policy, about fiscal deficits. But the rank and file Republican Party member who comes to the convention is worried about guns, abortion and immigration, which are all identity issues. Identity issues, particularly today in the post-Trump era, they're identity issues associated with beleaguered white Americans. Similarly, the identity issues of African Americans or other immigrant groups decide how they will vote. So, and then, some of them may be supporters of low taxes, and there might be some whites who are supporters of high taxes, but that's a second order issue, and it's not the way primordial political loyalties and develop, and how political organizations develop. The question arises, do we have cause for optimism? Is it possible to use what I call, loosely described, as a Rajni Kothari strategy to influence caucuses, lobbies, groups, individuals within existing political parties to move them in the direction of economic liberalism, of support for free markets, and generally a political position which is liberal? I believe there is cause for optimism. Let us consider the BJP, which today is a ruling party and the strongest party in many states. There are elements within the BJP which are clearly statist, which like high taxes, which like protectionism, which are against free trade, which are very suspicious of free markets, which can hardly be called liberal either politically or economically. But there are also elements within the BJP which would like low taxes, which would like to support the market, which would like to be market friendly, which is open to globalization, to trade, to investment flows, to liberal political and economic positions. And I think the latter group is the one that we need to work with. And if you look at S.V. Raju's career, after all, S.V. Raju was one of the founders of the Swatantra Party. Shortly before he died, in his last years, he actually became a supporter of the BJP because he felt that it was possible to do exactly this, to influence the BJP in the liberal direction. The same is true of Congress. Of course, most Congress vocabulary, particularly after the creation of the NAC, National Advisory Council, has been extremely leftist in its content and its character. But nevertheless, Manmohan Singh, for instance, who was inside the Congress and remains influential, is a person who believes in free markets. He believes in entrepreneurship, he believes in the animal spirits, and he believes in balance and perspective, and politically he is liberal. Amarinder Singh is another one who believes in these things. So I think there are elements within the Congress that we can work with, and we can support them and make sure that the Congress too moves away from its leftist hues and comes closer towards a market-friendly and a liberal position. Within the Trinamool, there's Mitra, who's very much a markets man. So it's not just in the two main parties. Even in the smaller parties, there are elements who we can appeal to, and we can use this strategy of working on caucuses, lobbies, groups, individuals within these parties, supporting them and moving them in the political direction that we want. Now, is this going to succeed? Well, nothing succeeds completely and unabashedly, but is this something worth trying? I think it certainly is. And is there reason for optimism? I think there is reason for optimism. If you're a supporter of markets, there are two reasons why you're a supporter of markets. First is consequentialism. Markets work well. Markets are superior to central planning. Those countries that adopted central planning remained poor. The Soviet Union, North Korea, China till Deng came along. Nobody tried to migrate from West Germany to East Germany. Everybody tried to run away from East Germany to West Germany because the consequences of the socialist system were very bad, particularly in economic terms. So that argument, I think, can be made that, look, markets work well and markets should therefore be supported. In fact, markets are the best hope for eliminating poverty or reducing poverty. Markets are the best hope for improving welfare in societies. So even if you're a person who's interested in improved welfare outcomes, you want to support market-based outcomes, market-based solutions. The second reason markets are worth supporting comes from modern political philosophy, which is that markets are unique human institutions that have evolved organically over time. They believe they are based on trust, they are based on mutual accommodation, on consensus, on contracts, on discussions. They are peaceful and peaceable. They are not based on predatory, warlike things that I will steal your goods. They are based on I will exchange goods with you so that both of us can be better. So there is a moral, and that's why Rajaji was particular when he said that the permit license Raj is not only bad economics, but it is bad morally because it corrodes the moral spirit of the country by making citizens dependent on government handouts, government licenses, government permissions, increases corruption, and corrodes the soul of the nation. So, markets, I think we can and we should keep pushing. And of course, the markets goes beyond the market for goods and services and capital and labor, although that's very fundamental. It's also market for ideas. The marketplace for ideas is very important in ancient Athens or in medieval Venice, or for that matter, in great Indian cities like Madurai or Banaras. The marketplace for ideas was very important, where different ideas came together, and they had disputes, they had discussions, they had debates. Some prevailed, some didn't. So that the whole approach, both in the economic and political area, is something that I think we can push. And we will find sympathetic lobbies within all existing political formations, and we should keep working on that. I think there is considerable reason for optimism. Is it going to be a complete success? The answer is no. There is still a lot of residual socialism in this country, particularly among academics, journalists, bureaucrats. There is a lot of residual statism in the country, where the state, the government is seen as a solution to problems, where government intervention, intrusion is the first option that people pick. And therefore, it's not going to be an easy battle. But is it something that needs to be completely given up as a lost cause? No. It's worth fighting for. And there will be small victories, maybe sometimes slightly larger victories. And that's what I think liberals in India should be attempting. And that is the direction that we should take, with a profound moral belief that we are right. When we believe in human freedoms, we are right. When we are opposed to slavery and serfdom of every kind, we are right. We will prevail. Maybe not completely, but that's okay. We have to keep trying, and we have to keep fighting, and we have to keep doing it within the realm of the practical. Remember, Adam Smith, the father of modern economics, was a complete empiricist. He was always focused on how human beings behave, not how they should behave. It's not an idealistic, normative philosophy, but how do they behave? And if they behave this way, what is it that we need to work about in order to move them in the direction which would be approved of by what Smith referred to as the impartial spectator, the voice of the conscience, the moral authority which directs all of us. I think this is the reason why I'm optimistic. It's a tough battle. It's not easy. We should be happy with small victories and an occasional large victory. Thank you.